We were reviewing what you said Friday about Ratzon, mentioning it was an active, steady active state.
Okay, so we don't let the end of the phone and get to it, but I think she's better for her to sleep if she's asleep.
Baruch?
I don't know. Yeah, that's Baruch.
What?
Baruch. He knows how to sneak in without anyone knowing.
Steve.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm sneaking.
Okay, and let's just establish first the place where we are up to.
So I was trying to ask a question.
Yeah, I just want to establish the where we're starting.
The material.
Are you ready, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yep.
I'm going to start with hadugma, okay? There's just below the middle of the page, AYIN, hey. The hadugma, the line begins with hadugma. So he discussed the principle that there are midos that are not dependent on hegish atzmoi and do not need any preparations. That they are reflecting the very essence. But these midos are not properly really called midos. They are more accurately described as Ratzon. Ratzon is a presentation of the essence itself. Yes, Daniel.
Just a side point from what you said, that Ratzon is a steady active state,
Mm-hmm.
and then right after that you said looked like obvious there was an inactive element, and I was wondering what
No.
what does
There
it
is
mean?
not an inactive. There is an inactivated. It doesn't need to be activated.
What does this refer to? I mean, Ratzon is a constant thing, so I understand.
Right. It doesn't need to be aroused.
But you say there's an inactive state in it.
Well, that inactivity, just to clarify, was inside regular action. In worldly activity, there's inactivity. By contrast, Ratzon is constant active state, which was interesting or different.
So there's no inactivity in Ratzon, is
Yes,
that what you're saying?
yes, and you were wondering what could it mean? There's inactivity inside active in a regular worldly context. What would that mean?
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay. So, the point of inactivity in Ratzon is to point out that there is not a process via which that comes to action.
There's not a what?
A process.
Oh.
It is definitely an active thing, but it's constant. It's representing the very essence of the person or the Maila.
Well, we were referring to the mashal of the ahava between father and son.
Mm-hmm.
So, father, before the son existed, that ahava was not there.
Oh, even that is not correct.
Uh-huh.
The father longed to have a son before he even had it.
that longing has the same status as Ahava itself?
Ahava, that's not Ahava. He says, even if the son does not behave appropriately, the father still retains his relation with him. So not possibly breaking, but it's a Ratzon Atzmi. But this does not, this is what Rebbe explains, does not properly described as a midah. A midah is something which is a reaction to some kind of a solicitation. He did him a favor, and therefore he has a reaction of a midah. Whether it's a favor or whatever it is, that we discuss it. But Ratzon is a completely different thing.
Well, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. But but there are nowadays cases that the father rejects his son and kills him, kicks him out of the house because he's not acting properly. Where is that Ahava there? We're going off topic. I'm sorry.
I don't know if it's off topic. Everything that you mention nowadays is off topic. They will use the most commonly known idea that crept into human beings' minds that is totally contrary to their personal orientation. The GTH came up with an idea that a human being evolved from a monkey. And there are people who are convinced of it. But do they really believe that they come from monkeys? Do they really relate to that? We confront him on an individual basis, not theoretically and philosophically, but how he relates to himself. You say, yes, I'm a monkey. No human being will say that. As a matter of fact, if you call him a monkey, he's going to get insulted. What are you getting insulted for? I'm praising you. I'm giving you praise because I'm saying you are just like your ancestor. If you tell Ayid that you're like Avraham, will he get insulted? The response to your question is very simple. There is the seichel that comes directly from the neshama that represents the truth as the neshama sees it. That seichel is based on, how you said, on the truth of the neshama. Then we come into an environment, a worldly environment, and we want to fit in and make sense of the environment in which we are, not what the neshama thinks. The environment. There we are thinking a completely different level. It's not seichel like we said before. It's not seichel. It's just something that I experience externally. And if I want to excel. I want to be successful in that environment. So I forget about what my neshama tells me, and I focus in on that thought process. Just to take it a step further and just and conclude this thing. This itself, that a person can convince himself contrary to his own truth, is also due to Ratzon.
Ratzon?
To the power of Ratzon. He wants to relate to the environment, and because that's what he is. And with this Ratzon, he can forget about his own truth.
So there could be two parallel Ratzon in the same.
Yeah, but that's not. No, it's not. See,
it's a reactive Ratzon.
No, it's not a reactive Ratzon. It's the power of Ratzon. If he perceives that it is to his personal benefit to be a part of this, he will bring forth his Ratzon to force him into this. Eventually it backfires, but this is how he can bring himself into this kind of an environment.
What's the meaning of he will bring his Ratzon? He will bring his Ratzon. That means he will corrupt, he will misdirect his own Ratzon into accepting that paradigm.
That's right.
So
and let me show you.
Where's the he? He is his Ratzon.
Okay. He is his Ratzon. In his Ratzon, there is this principle that he wants to fit in. He wants to be part of the environment. This is what gives him a place in reality.
That just sounds reactive or circumstantial. That doesn't
No.
sound like Ratzon.
No. This is Ratzon means real.
Okay.
So he misinterprets the reality that he observes and saying that this is reality, this is not reality. Reality is in the Neshama.
Okay.
What was this last one? How he moved from he himself to Ratzon that's contrary to the neshama?
That's right. In circumstance, he wants to fit in a worldly environment. He wants to have a sense of reality in his life. People go, this is an endless discussion, please think for yourselves. People go away from the Meibashin and go into the world. It doesn't make any sense at all. What draws them into the world? Yeshiva Bochim go to college, become professors. What they're learning over there, what they learn over here is a world apart.
They do it for a living?
Over here, no. Over here they're saying Bereshit Bara Elokim Shemayim V'Haaretz. They have a real source of the creation. Over there, they is a completely different, very shallow sense of reality, and yet they go there. Like we said in the talk yesterday, because that they understand from their own experience, not from the inside, from the neshama, and therefore they feel comfortable there. All right.
So people want to have a reality, and they misconcept the thing that this is the reality. the environment.
This gives them a sense of reality. That's not reality. This gives them a sense of reality. They're comfortable there.
Comfortability is being interpreted by
That's
them.
right. All right.
hadugma.
והדוגמה למיילו. וכן הוא הדוגמה למיילו. The similar thing is למיילו. I wanted to give us a little bit of a handle on this in the Ratzon. Mentioned many times. You wake up and you see daylight. And daylight, and you're drawn to it. The world is bright, is alive. Do you have to reflect, daylight, therefore I can walk around freely without concern of walking into a lamppost? What's so exciting about
To
daylight?
remain on this call, press 1.
That was me. There's nobody else there.
Okay, so I'm going to shut it off. What's so exciting about daylight? Is it a practical thing? That and daylight, it's day. It's time to get up. Why is it time to get up? Is it because it helps you get around? No. But because inherently, it's a chayes hanefesh, you're drawn to this. This is what your reality. When it's dark, you don't want to know anything about it. You want to go to sleep. It's daylight. That's it's reflective of a real connection.
What's the last one?
Okay, this is it. But okay, so then hadugma l'mayla. Diksiv v'av gam zois. V'av gam zois. Despite all that, the Rebbe is speaking about Yidden. Despite all that, lo me'astim lo ge'aldim. I have not despised them. U'k'mayim Razal, as the Chazal expressed it, bein kach u'bein kach bonai heim. Either way, however they behave, bonai heim, they're my children. L'hainu, this principle, that this relationship does not change, regardless of how their status is behorotzoin. This is in the Ratzon. This is not at the level of midos, of experience, it's not at the level of Ratzon. Shezehu mipnei shehu atzmusu u'mehus. That this is due to the fact that this is his atzmus u'mehus.
So this is like father and son.
It's like father and son. Avol inyan midas ho'avo. However, going back to what we started discussing, this is the central theme, the inyan from midas. The inyan of midas ho'avo, he mitzad hatam. That is due to an aspect of tam. There is a reason behind this ahava. There is something that brings out this ahava, because of his qualities, because of his behavior, and so forth. V'tolui behergish atzmei dafko, and ultimately, to have that midah, it depends on hergish atzmei, on the sensing of himself. Dafko means exclusively. This is the only way. It's the only way to get it.
How would the concept of Avim Suteres fit into this inherent type of love?
No.
Really?
So this is total behegish atzmai. This is not ahava soter. This is ahava gluya, and it depends. It's completely. The reaction in ahava comes from hegish atzmai. Hegish atzmai means he senses his own presence. It's his personal reaction. This is not an ahava. If there is a reason for the tam, there's a reason for the ahava. Oh, this person is such a good person. This is a seicheling. No matter, we spoke many times. I'm stepping off a little bit at that moment. We spoke a lot of times that one lies in bed and it's time to get up, and he tells himself it's time to get up. I'm using examples of that very commonly experienced. Right? Time to get up, and he can tell himself 100 times, "Time to get up." That's not going to get him up. You have to bring it back to himself. It's not time to get up. I have to get up. That may get him up.
I have a doctor's appointment.
Huh?
I have a doctor's appointment.
This is the hergish atzmai. The reality, the truth is one thing, and the fact that he belongs in the truth, and he is the participant, and that's mergish atzmai. So midas are total mergish atzmai. V'chein kol hamidas. The same is true.
You said before that midas is a reaction, but midas is not also a feeling. That the midas is what ticks us, what wakes us up. No?
The feeling is due to hergish atzmai. In other words, it touches him because he's margish himself. So that which touches him becomes active. V'chein kol hamidos. The same is all the midas. Not we talk about ahava. All the midas. Hein davka al yedei hergish atzmai. Become dafka exclusively as a result of hergish atzmai. The Rebbe explains, Shezehu ha'hefresh ben mochin lemidas, where this is in fact the difference between mochin and midas. Mochin means intelligence, and midas are the emotions. The ha'mochin, where the mochin have bechinas beetle, they are in a state of beetle. V'heder hergish atzmai, an absence of sensing of himself. Even though he understands it, and yet the understanding is not engage his own mitzias. Lihayois, being that the Yin HaMoichin Bichlal, that the principle of Moichin in general, Hein Ho'aliyah V'Yiskashus L'Domer Shalamayla Mimenu. The Rebbe explains why Moichin is connected to people. In general, the meaning for Moichin is rising up and connecting to something that is above him. The minor in Shezeh poel bitul mitzias atzmos. Things that he is conceptualizing, something which is higher than himself. This affects a bitul atzmi, the self-modification. Mochin is not, okay, what we spoke about yesterday in the family. This is an important thing. This is what occurred in the general world, when like we said, we have light, and we explain light on the basis of our own experience, not on a higher. Oh, light! What kind of entity is this? No, how do you interpret light on a physical level? That cancels out the whole phenomenon of mochin. We should understand light from a physical perspective. Mochin is, what kind of fine thing is this that you can't even touch it and it's so real? This is the information. It delves into the finer thing, that which you cannot experience, you cannot touch.
So how do we reconcile with this thing like Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, spoke also in Tanya? One is like the Seichel Tadin, the other one is Chesed. So evidently there is a Midas element within the Seichel.
Okay. Before we reconcile it, let's understand this thing. So mochin is the pshat that you don't shy away the fact that you cannot explain it in your environment, and therefore you do not relate to it. On the contrary, you go into that which is way beyond your own experience. Like we said yesterday, the Rebbe created light without a luminary. In a physical world, you cannot explain that. But the tendency of mochin is to get right into there and to say, what kind of creation is this? What kind of reality is this? This is behind mochin, to rise up to that which is above him, and therefore it has the effect of beetle atzma.
Can I ask a question about this?
You have a question about that?
You tell me it's a good question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the opposite of Perishats, little atzma.
Right.
But in this, if we understand Perishats the way we've been discussing.
Sorry?
If we understand Perishats as we've been discussing it, meaning that he cares about himself.
Right.
So that's not necessary for this approach to Seichel? That he doesn't have to have that?
No. Again, saying the Seichel goes into wonder.
Wonder?
Wonder. What is this? Not only wonder, but he wants to connect. He wants to rise up from his physical reality to a higher intangible reality.
So if he has no Perishats, if he doesn't care one way or the other about himself, why should he be interested in this higher reality?
Because this is mochin. It's not reactive. It's not himself. It's not for the purpose of his personal understanding. It's for his connecting to it.
Well, Ratzon he has to have.
What? Ratzon he has to have.
That's why he wants to connect, because of Ratzon, no?
Yeah.
It sounds personal. Really. It does.
What?
It really sounds personal. I mean, it's me.
No.
In mochin, I know we're losing it. I know we're losing it. You can't. You never can. In mochin, the important thing is not that I understood it, but that it is there. In midos, the important thing is that I felt it, that I have this experience.
So what's the Ratzon? The Ratzon then there is I want the truth. What's that motivates that seichel?
Ratzon does not come through a kind of decision. Ratzon is AYIN atzmi. There is not the point where a reason why do I want it. On the other hand, we have midos. Hein bibchinas hergish atzmei dafke. The midos, they represent hergish atzmei dafke. That's what midos is. Midos is a personal reaction.
And if there's no person, there can be no personal reaction.
That's right. That's what has in hergish atzmei.
So why is it that one person will be caught by this?
What?
Why is it that one person will be struck or whatever it is to become interested in this cycle, in this issue, and another person not?
It's too general a question to answer. It would be all kinds of different reasons.
All kinds of
different reasons why one person's mochin, why a mochin doesn't understand. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't even. It's not even attractive. We're saying,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No wonder.
No, we're saying now
Mochin have to be developed.
Have to be what?
Developed.
Available.
Developed.
Developed.
saying now that the midas is beginnes heilig atzme dafkoi, in contrary to mochin. So, what is heilig atzme here now in this context? The difference between midas and mochin. What do we touch beginnes heilig atzme?
Heilig atzme, we said, means that he senses the importance of his own mitzias, of his own life. Like we said before about a light in the daylight, it's like a miraculous thing. This is only intelligence can relate to it. Are we impressed with daylight because eyes have light or because there is light?
There is light.
Somebody could be oblivious.
Huh?
Somebody could be oblivious, right? See, this is the lack of development.
This is the lack of development of intelligence.
That explains why everybody in Crown Heights is not sitting in this year.
Excuse me?
That explains why everybody in Crown Heights is not sitting in this year. Bigger room. That's not the reason.
I don't understand though what the Rav answered to Ron's question. Doesn't it have to be a Ratzon? He asked before. Doesn't it have to be a Ratzon to think? The person has to be motivated to think, to learn. That's
Yep.
Ron's question. I understand
Yeah.
the answer. There has to be a Ratzon component there.
Yes. Ratzon, but Hergish Atzmai are not the same thing. Ratzon is a nefesh.
And Hergish Atzmai.
Hergish Atzmai is a mitzias. All right, let's call it a day.
So why do we say it's reactive? It's the basis of midas is Hergish Atzmai.